some people say I must have lost my way onto the pop idol stage and found my way onto Dragon's Den. But it didn't actually start there for me, Dragon's Den. It started years ago, perhaps 15 years before, of trying with an idea, of really believing in something. But not everybody quite up to your speed of believing what you're doing, but you just kept going and going until finally you stand at that bus stop and the bus does arrive. And for me, the bus arrived when I was tapped on the shoulder by a researcher from Dragon's Den. And having never seen Dragon's Den, the program, I didn't even know what it was, never heard of it. I foolishly accepted to go on. But I thought that I wanted to go as me, so I had to create this wonderful USP, this unique selling point, above all other unique selling point, was to appear on a show about finance and enterprise with a guitar and a song called Reggae Sauce Song. And I suppose that's why I'm here right now. I was expecting to get a bit of promotion. I was expecting to go on the Dragons Den, and even if the Dragons didn't particularly like what I was about, because at the time, because my children had told me what Dragons Den was, because they said, Dad, no Rastaman with no 3 foot long dreadlock, he's not going to be no Dragon Slayer on Dragons Den. So I kind of knew that I was up against it. But I knew about this thing about going in eyes wide shut. If there isn't a clear and present danger there, then you don't have any fear. And so I went there just completely thinking that, look, 5 million people watch Dragons Den. If these guys don't really, have any business acumen to invest in me, somebody out there in TV land watching is going to say, look, Levi, we like your sauce. And perhaps that's going to lead me for the next step. Because that's what business is about. It's all about starting out and moving on to the next stage. And I thought appearing on Dragons Den would have been the next stage for me. And I think so did perhaps most of the people from the BBC. I don't think anyone would have envisioned that, 4 years down the line, it's the sort of one of the biggest sort of products ever come out of Dragons Den, and I've become one of the most famous people that's ever appeared on the show. Buying back my shares from Richard was one of those triumphal moments that you have in business after you've set the business up and something great happens. And when I knew that Richard wanted to sell, one of the most fantastic things was that because I had good advice in the first place, that I managed to get a great lawyer on board just after Dragon's Den. And he sort of had me to do this thing called preemption, which is a preemption thing in my contract with Richard that allows Richard to have to offer me the shares first when he wanted to sell. And I think that was a great piece of advice that was given to me by my lawyer then. And when Richard wanted to sell, it was a good thing that I could afford to buy back my shares straight away. So it was fantastic to do that, and it's one of the happiest moments of my life. Well, I think first of all, to make yourself into a brand, you got to find out about who you are, and you got to find about what you want the brand to represent. I was always a Rasta man, and music was always my life. I wanted to merge music and food together. That was my aim. That was the reasons why I wrote a song that went with the sauce, was to literally do what the song says, is put some music and the food together. So it's just finding about who I was and what I wanted to do, which is really important. And the next thing is to go out there and to actually find out if the market needs that. Does the market need another Caribbean sauce? Does the market, need another Levi Roots, for instance? And, my research showed that it did, because Caribbean food is actually lingering behind all the other cuisines that's always on our TV. We see French food, we see Italian food, we see Mexican food, we see Chinese food, but we hardly ever see Caribbean. So I knew that there was a market for that. As for a silly Rastaman singing songs about reggae and all that, that's definitely always needed. So I knew that I was onto something fantastic then. The most fantastic thing I think about the Levi Roots brand, as you said earlier, I don't think people are buying the sauces or buying the products. I think they're buying a piece of me and of who I am. So I think I have a duty to make sure that what is represented as Levi Roots brand is actually what I would wear, what I would eat and what I would cook. if it doesn't weigh up all three, then it's not reggae and it's not Levi Roots. So I do scrutinize everything that we put under the brand. We know what our ethos is. We know that there is certain things that you would never see under the Levi Roots brand because we have a ethos that goes with that, with the man. For instance, you would never see a Levi Roots pork product under the name Levi Roots because that's not what I'm about and the integrity of who I am as a Rasta man. So, and these are the things that I had to sit Peter down and talk to him about when he first invested. When we talked about what is Levi Roots, what is reggae, what are we expecting to sell, what are we expecting people to invest in when they go in the shop and they spend £1.49 to buy a bottle of sauce. Are they buying something which has no integrity that they can just, like you would just buy something from the shop, or are they buying that moment on Dragon's Den that they saw Levi up against the odds, up against five dragons and had to overcome that? And I think overwhelmingly it's the latter that the people are investing. So we really do have to protect that. My first business plan was last for 5 years, and that was from 2006 to present. To say that I wanted to create a fantastic brand so we can replicate that wherever we go. And our journey next will take us to America. We launch in the Caribbean this year, in Canada and North America and Australasia. And I think now, because we have done our 5-year business plan, to replicate that, it's not easy, but it's not as difficult as if we're going to go there without having 5 years of doing it in the UK. So that is the plan for us now, is to just really expand and take in what we've created here with the help of Dragon's Den and do that elsewhere. It's not going to be easy because there isn't a Dragon's Den with the Levi Roots in America. So I won't have that head start. But the business plan is still the same. We're going to go out there and we're going to create this, we're going to build on this fantastic USP. And if we can do that, then I think people will buy into the brand. I've always said that I don't think I'll ever become a dragon, because I'm always the dragon slayer. I slay dragons. So I don't think being a dragon is for me. I love I love to be an angel type thing, to whereas it's not about breaking down people and their attitudes and stuff. It's about helping them. And I think this is where my book comes into it, because I'm not saying to you that I know how to set up a business and how to teach you how to set up a business. I know there's people like Peter Jones and Theo Prophetis and Duncan Bannatyne to do that. But one thing that I know I think I can do a little bit better than them is to inspire young people by telling my story. And I think this is what the book is about. And that's the best usefulness for me, for Levi Roots, is to inspire you, tell the story and say that if I can do it, you can do it. But you can get it if you really want, but you have to try again, and then you will succeed. The Notting Hill Carnival, I will never stop going to the carnival. I think it's 18 years since we started there, and I don't think I've ever missed a year. Always the same spot at the restaurant, and it's always fun seeing people come in. And the last couple of years, as you can imagine, the stall, as they say in Jaws, we'll have to get a bigger boat. But in this time, we have to get a bigger stall. So the stall has become like really, really massive. And it's become important for a lot of people, not just to come and try the food, but for also to get that little bit of experience, to see where I started from and see how small and see that's where the vibe and the core of what Levi Roots is about from. So, no, I don't think I'll ever miss it. I think while I'm here, I'll always have some kind of connection to do with the Notting Hill Carnival. Exit strategy, that's a fantastic question. And especially when you are associated with the brand by family, or it's passed down to you, or you're associated by any sort of long-term reasons. Like myself, this brand is about me. We talked about recipes passed down from my grandmother and all sorts of stuff like that. But it can be dangerous, and it's not something that I would say to people that, be too emotionally attached to your business, because investors won't like that. Because business, you are going to face with some fantastic opportunities and decisions to make. And with me, I know that, I'm going to be faced with some fantastic decisions. For instance, somebody may want to come and offer to buy out the whole business here, and then I can relax with a nice rum punch in Jamaica, and I don't have to do anything at all. Now that's attractive, and I will have to weigh that up when the time comes, But at the moment, that's not in the vision for us now. But I don't think I would advise anybody to be too emotionally attached to their business.